You know what most people get wrong about retirement? They think their costs are going to drop. They'll say, Adam, once the mortgage is gone, once the kids are off the payroll, we're going to be spending way less. And while that's partially true, there's a whole other side of the story that nobody really talks about. Retirement is full of hidden costs, the kind of expenses that really sneak up on you and can quite literally eat away at your savings if you're not ready for them. Now, that's why today's video is all about this. I'm going to walk you through the hidden costs of retirement here in Canada, the ones I see the most often in real life, and show you how to prepare without fear so that you can stay confident and secure in retirement. Now, let's start with the biggest myth that your spending goes down once you retire. And yes, some expenses do disappear. You're not commuting every day. You might downsize your wardrobe. You're not putting money into your RSPs anymore. That's true. But here's what really happens. I see retirees who finally have time on their hands. They start spending more on travel, hobbies, home renovations, their grandkids. It's not that they're careless, it's that they're finally free to enjoy life, and that costs money. Now, I've heard people tell me, Adam, I thought my monthly budget would drop in half when I retired. And it turns out it stayed exactly the same, just into different categories. That's the hidden cost. Lifestyle, the shift from obligation spending to choice spending. Now, it's not bad. In fact, it's the whole point of retirement, but you need to expect it. Here's another big one: healthcare. Yes, in Canada, we are lucky enough to have universal healthcare, but retirement has plenty of gaps, such as dental care, vision, hearing aids, prescriptions, physio, home care. These all add up really fast. Now, I've seen retirees who thought they'd spend a few hundred a year on healthcare only to realize it actually is thousands of dollars. And then there's the big one that nobody likes to talk about, and that's long-term care. Now, if you or your spouse needs a retirement home or in-home nursing, the cost can be enormous. Now, I've seen $3,000 all the way up to $12,000 a month for private facilities. Now, here's the thing. Not everyone faces those costs, but it's important to acknowledge that they exist because the worst financial shock in retirement usually comes from health. And when you're not prepared, it's not just money that takes the hit, it's going to be your peace of mind. Another hidden cost of retirement: generosity. Now, I've sat across from countless clients who said, we want to help our kids with their first home, or we're paying for our grandkids' education, or we want to be there if they hit a rough patch, right? And these are all really beautiful goals. And honestly, they're some of the most rewarding uses of money that I've ever seen. But they are costs. And if you don't build them into your plan, they're going to derail things. Sometimes it's not even about helping kids, it's social pressure. Friends invite you on a trip, neighbors are upgrading their cottages, and you feel like you don't want to be left behind. These emotional costs are really tricky because they don't come from need. They come from love, pride, and belonging. And that's exactly why they can sneak past your budget. Here's one of the sneakiest hidden costs in retirement, and that's taxes. I've had a lot of conversations with Canadians who assume that their taxes are going to plummet once they stop working. And yes, they often do drop, but they don't disappear. In fact, sometimes they actually get worse. Now, why? Because of the way registered plans like RSPs turn into RIFs once you hit the age of 71. You're going to be forced to take out a minimum amount every single year, whether you need it or not. And that money is fully taxable. Now, I've seen people surprised with tax bills that they didn't expect. And worse, those withdrawals can push your income high enough to trigger the OAS clawback. Now, that's the government slowly reducing your old age security because your income has crossed this threshold, which currently is around $92,000. So you can end up paying more in tax, losing benefits, all because you didn't plan withdrawals carefully. And the worst part, people often find this out way too late when it's already happening. Another hidden cost is inflation. Now, this one doesn't hit all at once. It creeps up on you. Groceries go up. Gas prices increase. Travel is now costing more. Now, if you think about it, at just a 3% inflation rate, your cost of living is going to double every 24 years. So if you need $60,000 a year today, you might need closer to $120,000 in your later years just to be able to keep that same sort of lifestyle. Now, I remember a retiree telling me once, Adam, I thought we were all set with $70,000 a year. But after 10 years, it doesn't feel like the same $70,000 anymore. That's the hidden cost of inflation. It erodes your buying power very quietly, year after year. And it ties into lifestyle shifts too. Early retirement often feels like the go go years, right? Lots of travel, activities, lots of spending. Later, spending actually might slow down, but healthcare and support costs can actually rise. So remember, it isn't one number, it's a moving target. Now, I don't want this video to sound like retirement is a minefield of hidden costs just waiting to explode, because the truth is, if you know they're coming, you can prepare. And the happiest retirees that I've seen are the ones who've built in these buffers. They plan for travel and surprises. They set aside funds for healthcare, even if they'll never use them. They talk openly as a couple about what they want to see for their kids and what they want to see for their grandkids and what type of limits they're willing to put on them. And they also don't obsess about predicting every dollar. They want to build flexibility because at the end of the day, confidence doesn't come from having the biggest retirement account. It comes from knowing that you've thought out all these what ifs that are out there. So when those hidden costs do pop up, they don't shake your foundation. So those are the hidden costs that most people don't talk about. They're not here to scare you. They're just here to help you prepare because retirement isn't about perfection. It's about living your best years with peace of mind, even when life throws surprises your way. And if you need a little bit of help along the way, feel free to visit us at stonecitywealth.com. I'm Adam, and we'll see you in the next video.